Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please let me know if the audio levels are all good. Alrighty, what have we got? Let's get up chat on the iPad in front of me. Now, I would like to know where... Aha, hold on. Uno momento. Need this one for cruising over the thingamabob. The tablet. Yeah, hello. Lil Art. Hello, hello. Rose. Welcome. Zach, what's going on? Artistic, how you doing? I appreciate it, Zach. Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. That's what we're going to be working on today. There's a lot of tweaks. Today's going to be a tweak stream. We're going to be tweaking a bunch of stuff. Arroyo, welcome from Mexico. I actually want to have like a list of like all the different countries and like all the different languages, so I know at least how to say hello. Hola, I think in Mexico. I know that one off the top of my head. Sugar beets, appreciate it. Welcome. Took a couple of days of messing around, so probably a solid like 10 to 15 hours sort of thing. It's still not there yet. Like you'll notice, like I'm kind of in a rendering style conundrum right now, because what we can do is we can render this up and make it look like a 3D model. But I don't necessarily want to do that. So I'll pull up, I've got some reference of, what's it called? Of like different rendering styles, like JC Leyendecker. Where can I pull some ideas from that? Like I started to do a little bit of that on the cheek here, a little bit of that on the neck. I want to make it a little bit different than just like a straight up full on just marathon effort of getting it looking like a 3D model, because at this point I could probably model this guy and it's like, what's the point? So we got to make it a little bit interesting, you know. Saiti, welcome. Jolie, good to have you. Sarah, welcome, welcome. Fahar, good to see you again. Salam in Arabic. All right, I'll remember that. I probably won't, but I've made a note to actually get like all the different countries that have been mentioned in the stream. Grace's art. Welcome, welcome, Alex. Hola a todos. Or to say that in Australian, hola a to-dos. Sugar beets from a high, we say hello. That's an easy one. That's a good one to remember. Okay, so yeah, I ended up, let's see if we can get the sketch up. It's changed a lot from the sketch. Like I've played around a lot with the face, and I want to actually update the sculpt to match the this face, because this is a little bit closer to the movie, I think, or just like concept art that I've seen. This guy is like slightly different. His features are a little bit more pushed. His eyes are a little bit larger. But yeah, we're gonna tweak it, right? So I was playing around with different backgrounds as well, because I'd like to have that kind of punk, sort of like English Sex Pistols sort of. There goes my monetization saying that. Sort of like the newspaper in the background, the newspaper sort of thing. I was playing around with that here. I was playing around with all different sorts of backgrounds. And from a social media standpoint, I want to think strategically as well. So I might take you behind the scenes from what I'm thinking with that. I also just quite like it plain as well. But I was playing around with, like different newspaper sort of backgrounds. But there's got to be a balance here. I was struggling a little bit. Well, I can't change this music. I'm sorry. Struggling a little bit with it being a little bit too busy, right? So it was at a point where it was a little bit too busy, and there was too much going on, too much of this kind of color stuff. So I've actually knocked it back from where it was. So we're gonna like refine some of this in here. I think we want the focal point to kind of be his face and the mask. And I was playing around with different textures. I don't oftentimes play around with textures. But we're going to do a bit of that today. We're just going to explore, you know. Hola, tudo bem? Paulo, sorry. I know that says hello. Tudo bem? Is that, how are you? Sugar Beach, yeah, definitely was. This was a zone one. This was like a flow state sort of one for some of it. Like there's iterations of it. Like this is one to do a sketch note on, definitely on Instagram. And you'll see the iterations when I do the sketch note. Silla from Florida, welcome. Paulo, I'm doing well. How you doing? Ismail, hola. Sarah, AZ, what are some of the books behind me? We can get into that later on. Some of my book recommendations. Nays Digital Art. Good to have you. Nadia, welcome. David, good to have you. All right, so this is the issue, right? Where do I start? I mean, I was lying in bed last night thinking about this, and this feels a little bit awkward to me. All right, I got to fix up the guitar here, but this whole like hand looks a little bit awkward. Maybe we can fix that a little bit. And I've got these on. Oh, I did have them on separate layers, but I think I merged them down. Yeah, I think I did, didn't I? Oh, we can slice and dice and cut them back up. I see there's like just things missing, so it's just, but I like to play around with the rendering style, clean up some of this stuff in the feet, and do a different stream. Just sort of like jump right into it and take you along with the. Actually, no, Sugar Beats, I think you're right. Start with a warm up. Let's do a warm up. Good idea, because then we're not floundering around on this one. How do I show that this is going to be a part of the stream? This is the like main focus of the stream. So I've got to update some of I've got to keep the thumbnails consistent, and this is what I want to work on for the full stream. Let's do it jank style. Get a screenshot. Whoa, I'm still here. There we go. And then throw him in the corner maybe. So we'll go full screen. Oh, now I've lost it. I've seen all the behind the scenes. Whoop, moving. It's all happening. It's all happening. Yeah, so, I was very late to this, setting all this up. No excuses though. It is what it is. So we've got this. Then let's just quickly write something, maybe. Just for the new people popping in later on in the stream. working on this later. This probably isn't going to work that great, but the most basic of basic fucking fonts, Myriad Pro. Let's do bold. Let's spice it up a little bit, hey? And why has this gone that color? Let's go. There we are. Then we do jankify this, screenshot. And then look at that. We're problem solvers here. Working on this later. Sick. Now, warm up time. So let's crack open Pinterest. No, not a pin. I want Pinterest. Thank you very much. Kelly, yeah, warm ups. That's it. See, it's too easy. It's too easy to just jump straight into it, particularly if you've got one sort of ready to go. So let's I want to do some sculpting later on today as well. Not on stream probably. I might do that after. Let's just pull some stuff. Let's pull some stuff in. I was like looking at this character here. I like studying from all sorts. So maybe we can pull some ideas from Disney. I think, yeah, Raya, I think it is. I haven't seen this movie though. So we can have a play around with some face stuff. Let's just throw a monkey in there. I don't know what I'm doing today. We're just all over the place. I hope you guys are ready for an eclectic warm-up. And what do we reckon? I don't know. Let's just use this. No, let's get, I don't know. Let's go to my character design folder. Oh, you guys can't even see out the screen. My apologies. Let's see what we've got here. Yep, throw in some Gabriel Suarez, legend. I love his simplified rendering style. I like this painterly sort of deal. Paul Felix, beautiful stuff. And let's get some quick tip on this as well. If you want to really understand some old masters paintings, Google, what is it, arts and culture. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is sick. This is absolutely awesome. So if we come here and line decker doesn't have too many on here, but this is what I was doing earlier. If we come here, I'll probably have a look at some Rockwell, some Norman Rockwell. But here you can actually zoom super close in to the paint, like the real life paintings, right? So like this is cool, really seeing some of the just faceting that he was doing. This is a printed version, I believe, of it. So let's take a screenshot of this one. Like even, look at this, like back in the day he was doing all this like hatching stuff, you know. No, I don't. Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. Just cover the whole screen so we can use that for reference later as well. But let's go back. I did see, yeah, Norman Rockwell. So you can actually come in and see the paint strokes. And it was really interesting actually having a look at Norman Rockwell's, JC Leindecker's book that I've got with his paintings to see his techniques, because you can actually see the canvas underneath. So you can see where he like left out things, like where he has the canvas behind within the actual painting itself. It's sick. It's awesome. But here, I believe, because Norman Rockwell is pretty popular, like you can see the cracks in the canvas here, right? Cracks in the Canvas. That's a good band name. So And you look how like faceted all these shapes are. Then you zoom out and you're like, holy shit, it's like real. I like this for the Hobie painting. This kind of thing, particularly for his hair maybe, and even his clothes. So let's grab a little reference of that. Don't know how I'm going to use this for warm up, but we'll figure it out. And let's get like I don't know, one more like character thing that looks cool, and then we'll just get stuck into it. Line work. Let's have a look at line work. What have we got? What have we got? Give us what jumps out to me. I really like this simplified line work, because I might even come over the top of this one and do like really simplified line work over the top of Hobie. So who knows? Let's just play. Welcome, Blissful. Oh, Sugar Beats, good idea. I did say I'd do an ear little tutorial. Good idea. Good idea. The ear. There you go. How's that? Yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night. It's going to be a loopy stream. Loopy stream. What have we got going here? Where's my plugin window, guys, here? Too serious for this time of the morning. Mind you, it's 11, so. All right. Let's begin. Start with a circle. Why? I don't know. It's one of those days. We just play with shapes. Get into the mood. Yeah, so I'll do the ear one, but I've got to have a head to put an ear on. Sugar Beats. Do I have a plug on? I don't know. What are you talking about? Thun Guns legend. What's going on? I have used Critter. Predictor. I have used Critter very briefly though. I might do some Critter streams as well. For Heart. Yeah, it must be. For Uncle Sam. Toki, my week's been good. Hello, Prima texture, a sexy monkey. Thun Guns. Sounds good to me. Denise, welcome. Welcome back. Vintage Disney, that's it. Oh no, I didn't get Vintage Disney. Oh no, there is Vintage Disney. See, I'm all over the place. This is going to be interesting. Orenji, welcome. Loving the content I'm seeing as well, Orenji. It's been sick. Nice. Love a good re-strategize. Chris, welcome. Ishmael. Renascentista? No idea. The music you like? Sugar Beats. Yeah, this is just random as hell, this music. I don't know. Sometimes in the mood for that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'm just not. All right, let's go. My apologies. All right. So, if I'm looking at her face here, I'm trying to see through. We've got a theme here with the music. I don't hate it, but I'm looking for something a little bit more energetic. Energetic chilled. A dichotomy between two styles. Okay, so I'm just looking at really simple shapes here, right? Let's see if we can surround the drawing with all these references. I'm liking doing this recently instead of just using PureRef. next. Okay, and we've done it on the same layer. Who cares? Too early in the stream to be fluffing about. All right, so the ear. I like to get the ear in a little bit earlier, or quite early on in the head drawing. I like to draw the whole shape of the head first, right? But this is my simplified ear. It's like my go-to, right? I like to have like a straighter line. It's got a bit of smoothing on. Like a straighter line connecting to the side of the head, right? And that's going to connect into the jaw. Okay, and then like a curve around. Fairly straightforward. Right, curve around and up. And these, it can change. There's no right or wrong with any of the stuff I'm saying here. This is just one way to draw an ear. Then we've got the inner lip of the ear, right? Connecting down to this little thing. Whoever knows the name of this little thing in the ear, give you 10 internet points, right? It can be round, it can be pointy, it can be large, it can be small, whatever you want to do, right? But I'm looking at this as like a 3D form. Okay, so this is in front of this stuff back here. So I might throw a darker line to indicate that. And then you can even have a little bit of that inner ear coming through. Right, that's one way of doing an ear. So there's a quick one for you, sugar beets. The ear thing is called goober. I'm going to trust you on that. How's about that, Dunguns? The scientific name. All right, so let's have a look. So I've made this nose way too big if we're using Raya as a reference. But the great thing is these are just pixels, so we can move them, we can shape them, we can do whatever we bloody well please. So I'm trying to place the eyes. Just doing these half circles or these kind of spheres really helps me place the eyes early on. Right, and then we've got the nose here. So I'm kind of swapping. If there was like a spectrum between 3D thinking and 2D thinking, right? This is a way that I like to think about it. We're going in full tutorial mode for the warm-up. I don't care. This is what we're doing. So if we're thinking in 3D here, and we're thinking in like 2D here, right? And this is like a slider and is going back and forth along this spectrum. That's kind of what's happening in my head. All right, so I'll start off with the 2D shapes, and then all of a sudden I'll slide it all the way over to the 3D, and then I'll slide it back to the 2D, and then I'll go somewhere in the middle, and then go back and forth and back and forth. All right, so there's no like, it's not very linear with me, at least the way that I'm thinking. I'm kind of thinking about multiple different things not at a time, but just sort of switching between the two. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. I might not even bloody remember this stream. I am fucking tired. The Tragus. Nice, alright. Thungun's trusting me is your mistake. That's your problem. I trust until I cannot trust. So I'm trusting you to tell the truth. And I'm sticking with Goober. But no, the Tragus, I think this little thing is Tragus. There you go. So let's look at these eyes. So what I'm thinking about the eye shapes, I'm thinking of them as spheres, imagining them in the sockets, right? This really helps me looking at this sort of center line. So we put our initial one down here, then kind of knocking back out with the nose. And then this nose is kind of angled down here because our mouth is... That's one thing you got to think about with the features is it's just kind of like so malleable, right? Stuff moves, the nose moves, not like all over the place. But when you do certain expressions, other stuff's going to change, right? So you open your mouth, the jaw goes down, and you have like one side of your face poke up. This cheek is going to affect this eye. This cheek is going to move the nose up as well. So that's why we can have a little bit of that tilt. The head, there's a little bit of a head tilt here as well. So I'm thinking about that at the same time. Right, but let's get these eyes in. So I'm trying to think about wrapping around. Wrapping around the sort of eye forms. Right, it's looking janky as at the moment, but that's the way it goes. Right, so we got, then we can knock it all back like I just did with the eraser. So now I'm going, I'm like thinking in 3D. I'm on like the 3D thinking spectrum now of going, all right, where's this nose sort of coming down? It's a 3D form. Nostril, nostril. Thinking about the 3D-ness of the eyes. One thing I'm finding with sculpture as well is without the irises, the iris, the colored bit of the eye, whatever it's called, it looks weird as. It looks kind of like creepy. So getting those in somewhat early can really help as well. So let's think about the mouth here. I think this head needs a little bit more at the back there. See, it was a little bit cut off, a little bit if we're just thinking about her bald. Right. The jaw coming down here. All right, we've got to think of the teeth as well. I'm thinking about the skull underneath. So that's going to be a solid object. That's not, the top jaw isn't going to move. The bottom jaw does. So I'm thinking about that. Right, now it's starting to look like something. All right, and now I was talking about before, when you move your muscles of your face, this cheek is kind of pushed up a little bit on this side, which makes that kind of 2D shape, this kind of silhouette of the face where you get that sort of notch in the side of the head. All right, just catching up with chat. Drawing realism, is there any... Zach, good call. That's... Holy shit, we've got 93 people watching. That is my issue. A lot of the times. So when it comes to not drawing realism, simplifying these shapes down as much as possible and then being able to manipulate them as much as you want is the key. Because if I wanted to... Because then you have kind of complete control over the shapes, then it's like the world is yours. You can do whatever you want with these shapes, right? You can make it more realistic as you want. So it's like... And this is what I'm trying to think about, because I'm working on a course at the moment, just like all about stylization and getting away from realism and that kind of stuff. And it's, yeah, trying to explain this way of thinking has been fun, because it's really, you're trying to just have complete control over the shapes to then do realism, to do stylization, to do whatever you want. It's like having a handle over the alphabet, and then having a handle over sentences and words, and then you can write whatever you want. You can write horror, you can write poetry, you can do whatever you want. That's kind of the key to, at least what I've found. That's just at this point of my journey, the way that I'm thinking about it. So I'm not sure if that was really a tip, but yeah, But yeah, getting familiar with these really simple shapes, the best that you can. And then looking at other styles. Looking about how people solve different problems, how other artists solve different problems. All right, this jaw is going to be sort of down a little bit. All right, I do like to draw my heads, like if I'm just studying heads, I want to connect them to the neck because you're very rarely just going to have like a floating head. And then adding the hair, some sort of, so this is then going to my 2D thinking brain. Almost want to have like a slider next to me so I can visualize where I'm at. So it's like 2D, 3D, 2D, 3D. That could be a cool little coding project. Blissful, that's right, using that artistic tool belt. Matthias, welcome. Pine, morning. I use... Oh, we cracked 100. 101. Well done, team. Well done. For you OGs out there. Glad to have you all. Epidemic... Oh, thumb guns. Look at you go. That's it. Yep, epidemic sound. Wannabe hero. You really want me to spin the cap around my head? All right, if we get to like 130, I'll spin the cap. All right, there's our challenge. We get 130 concurrents. I need you guys to keep an eye on that. And I'll spin the cap. I think you're the only one that wants me to spin the cap personally, so it's not much of an incentive. But there you go. All right, so we're just looking at this nose here. And with the nose as well, I like to think about the relationship between the inner corner of the eye and the nose itself. That can be really helpful. Right, so it can sort of find placeholders to add these 3D forms, you know. Right, then we can knock this all back. And then we can play around with line work. Let's go to Kyle. Kyle, what's his face? Kyle Webster. Oh, 111 concurrence. This is free in Photoshop as well, so go check it out. The Mega Pack. Animator pencil. I do like this pencil. It's pretty cool. All right. So let's knock this back even more, shall we? So it's like we can barely see it. Then we can play around. With the eyes and make it look like we never did any of these construction lines at all. We're magicians. Alright, come in here, throw the nose in, the nostrils. Now let's have a look at this reference. Real simplified. I don't want to go this simplified for this, but I love this. How you can just like simplify stuff. So we darken this down, dip it in the ink. Got the little indication of the eyelid here. And then throw just the colored bit of the eye. I do like to shout out, use the Filthy plugin. You want to go check that out? It's a plugin that I made along with my good friend Francis. That we made, I should say. Just to quickly throw in those eyes. We've got to think about the wrapping of these, the eyelashes as well. How they wrap around the lids. And because this is just a warm-up, I'm not worried about how super accurate I am. Although I don't like that eye. Because these lids are going to kind of wrap around, excuse me, like that. Do the old flipperoo, see where we're at. Not terrible. There's some adjustments to make, but it's a warm-up, so we don't want to get too far into it. You just got to go. Keep pushing forward. Yes, I'm using a Stylized, Chris. And Denise. Color bit is the iris. Awesome. I'm correct. Thumb guns. 115. 15 more. We get the cap spin. There we go. Sculpting the figure. I've not tried yet. So that is to be seen. That's kind of my next challenge, I think, that I want to do, is like a figure of some degree. What that looks like, I don't know. But again, if we simplify these things down in whatever discipline to simple shapes, you know, it shouldn't be too different than like the thinking behind it. It shouldn't be too different than the drawing the head. Sculpting the head. Alright, now the mouths always mess me up, right? Like this side of the face. Like, but if we really just simplify it down, look at reference. Talking to you, future Ben. Look at bloody reference. You can see that it like wraps around, but we still see this corner of the mouth, and there's oftentimes, depending on the smile, there's like gaps there where the teeth are. Alright, so we can take the cues from that. Now I'm not doing it one-to-one to this character. I'm just going with the flow, man. And it's interesting, you tweak one little thing and it makes it look creepy. But then you tweak another little thing and it's like, okay, that looks alright. Such a balancing act. Let's use the filthy plugin. There you go, now the mouth's open. Not perfect, but it is what it is. Alright, the chin maybe a little bit too large. Knock the chin back. And this is another thing with the mouth open. This jaw is going to get sort of pushed backwards that way as well. So that's something to sort of keep in mind. Keep in the back of your head. Alright, this eye, bottom lid. Man, chat's going off. Holy shivers, regal. Jay, welcome. Duncan, what's going on? Okay, Heiko, why do I draw? Because it's fun. There's no deeper meaning than, like, some people have like, oh, this is my purpose. It's fun. I like the challenge. Because I'm never going to be perfect at it. And that's kind of why I pick up anything, really. Any skill that I'm trying to learn. It's like, yeah, the challenge of getting better. It gives me little dopamine hits every time I learn new skills. All right. Got the lip there. That's fine. Bada bing, bada boom. Then we can come through, throw in some of the hair, completely cover up that ear. No, that looks weird. We'll just do line work. Can't be bothered figuring that out right now. So we got hair real quick. Shabang, shabang, shabang. Up and away. This cheek is too pokey outy. And that'll do for quick sketch. Now, what else do we want to try? I wouldn't mind giving this guy a go. Alright, let's do maybe like a smaller one of him. Old Uncle Sam. Christian in the chat, what's up, man? Welcome. Cosmic Butler, does gesture have to be at odds with structure? That sounds like a very philosophical question, and I don't know. No, I don't think so. Right, because I guess what I'm doing right now, let's like push this guy's like proportions like crazy, just for the old S&Gs. For the shits and the giggles. Yeah, no, I think they work well. Both they work well together. Gesture and structure. Denise, what a conundrum. Captain, konnichiwa. Adrian, what's a salve? Send a salve to Brazil. I don't know what that means. Ah, awesome, Zach. Yeah, let us know how you go with it. All right. Adrian, how long have I been drawing? I have been drawing on and off for most of my life. So this is what I was talking about before, having kind of like command of the shapes. We can do whatever we want. So he's got his eyebrows sort of poking down here. His head here. I want to get a little bit of structure in. Right, get the direction of the eye. Throw in a bit of the nose. Do the old flipperoo. Throw that ear backwards a little bit more. Where's... Oh, of course. How does this even happen? Oh well. Ear back a little bit. This should be the theme songs for when I do squats. Alright. Let's merge these two, bugger it. Knock it all back. Faded. Awesome. Nah, all good. Each to their own. Nah, hopefully have you back one day, Faded. No stress at all. You have a good one. Yeah, well, I didn't take it as mean. No, that's all good. That's it. We've reached the cap. So when you practice, maybe because you start feel. Do I feel pressure when I practice? Yeah, it's something I have to get over. You know. Sometimes I do, but I've kind of let that go a little bit. But it doesn't help at all. It really doesn't help. Because it's like, what is practice for? You don't know how to draw something until you practice it. There should really be no... The pressure kind of doesn't make, like logically, it doesn't make sense. Alright, so this guy is kind of looking odd. So let's add in the eye here. And that bottom lid is super helpful. This is the thing, I get into the weeds real quick. Gotta remember this is a bloody warm up only. Luciana, welcome. Good to have you. River Shy. This is my Scream schedule. Once a week. Mind you, I did one on the weekend, but that was a sculpting stream. But yeah, this time, every week, kick off the week with some art study. Feels more interesting. It's all about iteration, right? So we've got his little whatever. Can't be bothered putting the hat on him. So he's got to be a bald Uncle Sam. So you look at this as well. One little tweak to the eye, right? One super little tweak. He either looks like silly or like he's got an issue with his eyes. So it's kind of like finding that balance between the two. Denise, I know. I appreciate it, Duncan. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it to a postable place. Rivershy, you're not. I have not seen it either. Maria, welcome. Good to have you. Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers. Good call. Good call. All right. Commotion has been the berries legend. Good. That's wicked. Still makes me giggle. It's such a good saying. The berries. All right, I'm noodling with this guy. Too much. Just too much. How I would say, dicking around. So, all right, cool. We're getting the flow of stuff. Let's do. I don't want to do too much like a rendering because I know that I'll get stuck on that. What do you reckon? Let's do just like a quick value study of this chimpanzee. And then, let's just get cracking into it. We've done a warm up. That's all right. Blissful, I know. Trayton, welcome. Good to have you. All right. That was a really quick warm up. Well, quick for me anyway. Okay, let's assess. We're not doing the warm up now. Look at me. Remember to remove the warm up thingamabob. So remove warm up. This, we're working on this now. Okay, so what I might also do is like what I had. So actually bring this guy in next to it while I'm working on some of the rendering, because I'd really like to get this kind of vibe with it. Alright. And where was that other one that I saved? Did I just take a screenshot of that and never put it in the thing? Yeah. Well, we will. So just having some of these around the place can really help. Now, one of the key things I'm seeing with some of this work is faceted or really shape-driven rendering. Blueberry. Is there a tutorial? No, there's. I'm going to be doing a sketch note when it's finished. All right, so let's assess. Our focal point is here, right? So let's have a look. And no one's really going to look at. I mean, this is kind of postable now if I wanted to, but I just want to explore, experiment, push myself a little bit more, you know? So let's see if we can break this down. Break down some of Line Decker's line work. Like even this, like he's ahead of his time. Like all this sort of like scrapey kind of rendering. But what I'm really looking at is these really defined shapes in the transitions. Now, if we can see the patterns here, it's usually like there's a balance between them, right? There's the blended, like really soft blending, but then you've got the hard shapes over the top, and then you've got blending within those shapes as well. So let's see. I've started with a cheek here a little bit. Let's just get a really simple rectangle texture brush. And we're just gonna go and focus on these focal points, because this can kind of stay pretty scrappy, because no one's going to be like zooming into the foot and be like, oh, that's a good boot. So let's have a whirl. Let's turn on. I hope this isn't going to be too into the weeds for you all. So I recommend cracking open whatever you're working on and just hanging out, because a lot of it is going to be smaller adjustments until I decide to scrap the whole thing and start and do something completely different with the face or something. I doubt that's going to happen, but it's happened before. You never know. If anyone knows what amp I referenced as well, any musicians out there, that would be cool, for nothing other than just for no reason really. All right, so we're trying to find the balance between soft transitions and hard shapes. All right, so still trying to think about the structure. Turn off hue shifting. Alright, got to clean up the eyes a little bit here as well. So I'm just going to bounce around really. And this is what rendering is. It's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So these are some shapes in here with the transitions. Right, we can do a little bit of that cleanup around this cheekbone as well. And this is all, I'm all thinking about values as well, black and white. If the values aren't holding up, then the colors mean bugger all. Even the lip here. This chin can jut out even more. See, even that, right? Jutting the chin out more, because he's doing that kind of thing. Like, that's a structural thinking. Or a structural way that I'm thinking, at least. And what I was thinking about here is that this brow might cast a bit of a shadow on these lids as well. How much of a shadow? Who knows? Who bloody knows? So I don't think it'll be that dark either. What makes this look like a shadow is this occlusion sort of line or shadow, where the crease of that lid sort of meets. Alright, and then this harder transition here. Got to do something with the forehead. The forehead is looking a little muddy, I guess. Well, that's the wrong way of thinking about it, I think, but Is this her? Kelly. Yes, this is Hobie. This is my interpretation of Hobie. Alright, so we've got to think about some of this lighting as well. So I've got top-down lighting. That's what we're thinking about. Top-down. And he's got a pretty strong jaw. And sort of side planes of the cheek. So what we can do is we can make this a little bit darker and pronounced. Alright, so that gives it more of that really solid thing there. And what we can do is we can just add a little, just like a lighter indication there on the cheek to really make it look like it's faceted. There's like a plane there. So I do want to make this look more painterly, like mixing up line decker, a little bit of the Spider-Verse style with some of this kind of stuff, like the sort of stuff. So we got, I think this is the fill trim. No, this little bit. Right, this has form as well. This is going to be affected by the light. And this transition coming down here, maybe we can try some of this line decker-esque sort of hard shapes for the lip. Maybe not the best spot because it's super smooth. Delanius, yeah, they got British people as well. It's pretty cool. Tic Taco, oh Tika Taco, yeah. So that is the old dude is JC Linedecker's work. Thank you, Delanius. So there's something just a little bit rough looking about it, where this is just so refined, and I want to find that balance. And it's little things like this, right? This little, like, just cleaning up some of these shapes, I think. But also we don't want to, my goal isn't to make it look like a 3D rendered sort of character either. So we gotta figure out that fine line. That's it. Tongue gun's got to bring back some hard edges. Blissful berries, I like it. Yeah, because this is like full. This is full of hard edges. Full of them. But it's like, even if we think about like the redness of the cheek, right? We think about that as, say, like a whole shape, right? You see it's like lighter in here and then transitions darker, but it sort of fits all together. It's like a puzzle piece. Fits all together. That's the kind of thing that just looks sick. Right, I'm going to think about those specular highlights as well. Oh, do I? It takes a bit of setup to, because I've figured out a way to show specular versus diffuse highlights in Blender, which is like, I think is pretty interesting. Maybe we'll save that for another stream. Now, maybe to keep this interesting, I'll add another layer on top, and this could help me out as well and kind of demonstrate where some of these planes are. So if we're thinking about this, I'm seeing this kind of wrapping around like that, right? I'm thinking about the nose, how that's wrapping around. Like, this is kind of what's in my head. This wireframe of the character. And that's going to dictate where I put all of these lights and all of these darks. Right, so if we were to draw a center line as well, center lines are your best friend. It would kind of curve because we got a little bit of the distortion of his expression. Come back in here. Follow it all the way around. Center line through. Lip underneath. So that is where I'd imagine that center line to be. We can kind of do like mini center lines all over the place. So like the center line of the eye here, that kicks out there. And these sort of planes of the cheek, because his head's tilted back, they're going to be catching more of the light versus if his head was straight on, right? So we've got to keep that in mind. So maybe this is cool. This is like me thinking out loud, which is helping because I don't do that often when I'm by myself. So then we can add some of these Leyendecker-esque shapes that can fit in and become more faceted. Like one of these puzzle pieces, I guess you could say, as it transitions down. And because the cheek, although, and just like we were talking about with the warm-up, how the cheek, and we got to think about all the everything sort of being manipulated and moving because it's like malleable, right? We can think about this here as well. And because we're doing this kind of style, we want to keep it consistent throughout everywhere. Because if I just did this area and just left it, it would look like he's got something, what's wrong with his cheek, you know? But as we zoom out, it's like cool because we've got some consistency there with the cheek and the transitions and blah, blah, blah. Thumb guns, would some purple of the nose be reflected in the eyes? Yeah, if we wanted to go that detailed, but I don't think we need to. It could be. Gus, I don't want to be responsible for ruining your sleeping pattern. Sleep is very important. Blissful, yeah, at the moment everything's on one layer. Everything is on one layer, but this is after building it up over multiple layers, you know. But this is kind of where it gets fun for, or like the whole thing's fun really, but this is where it becomes easier to manipulate these shapes versus going back and forth between layers and blah blah blah. I want this to be smooth transition, but one note as well, if we're gonna get real nitty gritty with it, let's take this let's take the context of the eye out of it completely, all right? If we look at this upper lid and we think about it as a sphere, and we think about it that this part's lit and this part's in shadow, excuse me, this shadow part is still gonna have transition and form. It doesn't have to, right? Because that can be a stylistic choice, but there's still gonna be a transition with these shape. So this part is probably going to catch more light than these sort of side planes of that sphere, but it's just going to be in shadow. But even because it's in shadow, it's still being lit. It's not devoid of light, because if it was completely devoid of light, this would just be a blank screen. You would not see anything. So that gives it a bit more dimension as well. Maybe we shapeify some of these specular highlights to make it more line decory. Same deal here. This could be a little bit darker, you know. Maybe this actually catches more light here. What is this music? Oh, Blissful, yeah, we're going to do some rim light. You better believe it, whether you like it or not. It's happening. And this is a good spot for the luminosity lock, right? So let's say we want to match this kind of value, right? So we have our base luminosity here, right? The lightness and darkness essentially, all right? So you can't tell the difference of where I'm painting, okay? So we flip back and forth. And what we can do is we can change the hue and start adding pops of color, but it still makes sense in the scheme of things because the values are the same. So we can utilize that a little bit in here as well. Clean up this edge. And we can do that with the color layer mode as well. clearly we've got to clean this whole thing up. I want to do it in a way that's strategic and shapely. All right, now let's think about this area, because this is a cool thing, right? We look at like Rockwell, you zoom right into the face and it's all faceted. Like if you zoom right into that, you'd be like, what the hell am I looking at? Like some abstract, if we just zoomed into this area, it would just be some abstract painting that you zoom out and it's like, oh, okay. That's the kind of vibe I'm looking for here. All right, we zoom into this area, like what is this? Some amateur stuff, and then bam! But also, it's going to be this big on a screen. I don't know why I'm getting all finicky with it, but it's fun, right? This is also study. I'm not just doing it for posting necessarily. I'm trying to get better at the same time. And everything that a light source hits becomes a light source itself. Let that one sink in for a second, and I will repeat. Everything that a light source hits becomes a light source itself. So, is there a good way to demonstrate this? In real time, if we go half-half, right? We go, we've got this here. I was better off just doing it in Blender, right? Basically, I'll just do it in Paint. So here, the light source is hitting that top lid. That's going to bounce back up underneath here. Right, so we just increase the values a tad. Right, maybe a little bit too much, but it's not going to be intense. It's not going to be like super crazy. Just adds a little bit of depth. Alright, let's lock in these shapes here as well. Alright, so the light source coming down from the top. This is, let's do our wireframe thinking as well. That's kind of what I imagine it to be if we think about a wireframe. So it's like, whoop, whoop. So this is going to be lighter here and transitioning down. Maybe that eyebrow. Let's get rid of the eyebrow just for a second. Think about this just as a form by itself. And maybe this brow wraps around the top. I don't know. We kind of lose it a little bit in the hair, but we can fix that with rim lights. Bit of that line decker shape stuff going on here as well. All right, let's clean it up a little bit. Clean it up a smidge. Joe Productions, thanks so much. Soon, the new video's coming soon. I'd say it's about 90% done. Talked about this on last stream, but yeah, I've got to get better at getting the stuff out in a timely manner. All right, there's some inconsistencies with the logic of the light source here. If you squint our eyes, this kind of gets lost here, right? And this lip, if we go to our wireframe thinking, is going to kind of wrap around like that. Okay. Oh, and I got to, speaking of, I got to bring back the lip ring as well. Good reminder. So let's add a bit of that darkness underneath here. Maybe take some of that cue from the upper lip and some of this. Just helps a little bit. To differentiate the lip from the skin. IVN, congrats. That's awesome. Oh, Duncan, appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get that that update out as well, where the there's a little bug with the shapes, so we'll get that one out soon. No, that's awesome to hear, because yeah, I use it daily. And it's just cool, yeah. Getting it out there. A little bit of an experiment. Now, let's leave the face just for a while. I might not even touch it ever again. Who knows? But the hair. The hair is the tricky one. Well, it's not so tricky. It's the same principles. But I would like it to feel more like painterly, like this, with a little bit of like this kind of. These two actually I believe these two studied together, Rockwell and Leyendecker. I think Leyendecker learnt from Rockwell. Yeah, I think Rockwell learnt from Leyendecker at some stage. So let's think about these dreads, right? I'm going to go over my work because I was trying to get all fancy with some of the lighting, but I want to pull that back a bit and think about these as 3D shapes more so. And where the light source is. So if we look at this, there's like really super subtle transitions. And maybe we do like the first clumps of hair like more detailed, and then as it goes in the background it gets less and less detailed. Like even some of this stuff, like the brushwork is sick, because even though his hair is like matte black, it's going to be hit by the light. No worries, Duncan. Raka. Or Raka. How do I study art? Basically, like, on a simplified scale, kind of what I'm doing here. I'm taking cues from other artists, taking the bits that I like, and seeing how I can incorporate that into what I'm working on. That's a very simplified way of explaining it. So there will be all, like, it's a more organic shape, these sort of or these locks, like each individual one. We're not going to draw each individual lock. But what we can do is give the impression of the light and then being more like organic by adding these little, so they don't just look like cylinders. Something along those lines, maybe. Feels kind of cool. Move old mate out of the way. And this transition of his hair needs to be hit by light as well. So like his sort of hairline, it should be a little bit more curved as well, I think, because we're looking up at it. If you look here, it's probably, really hard. I don't have Sculpt Cam available, but I sculpted that sort of hairline and it kind of wraps around, because if we go back to our wireframe mode, this is kind of what I'm thinking about the head doing. And as soon as we cut that off, it kind of loses the illusion of 3D form, even though we've got the rendering feeling like it's lit in that way. So we can bring some of these shapes and make it a little bit more curved. Loadsy. It is, what is it? Canvas size. There you go. 4320 by 5400. 00, I should say, not 00. Now this, this could be casting a shadow over here as well. So it gives it more dimension. We could even have it sort of flopping over his head. So I might go a new layer and test that out. Go multiply and see if that adds to it or it looks distracting. I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate that. Gives it a little bit of something else. So let's merge that in. And I think this hair, this lock here is starting too far forward on the head. So we should really push this sort of transition piece of his hair back a little bit Maybe have that lock start a little bit further back because his head is tilted back as well. Got to keep that in mind. And maybe this goes back in space a little bit more. Again, no one's going to be zooming into this stuff. This is really unnecessary, to be perfectly honest. But I'm learning. Hi, thank you. Loadsy, my pleasure. Can I see you sketch, boy? You can scroll back a little bit. We did some sketching for the warm-up. All right, let's think about this lock here. So if it's lit by the same light, so I'm trying to emulate this kind of painterly feel as well. Lit by the same light source, it's the same material. It's a little bit bulbous for my liking, so we sort of knock that back. We can maybe do a bit of the line decker treatment on it. You'll notice if we go back and forth to black and white, that although these are all being hit by the same light source, they look different. Their local values are all different depending on the material. And we can use what I was talking about with this one. You can see this red shape. It's like all one shape, but there's like gradients here. This is a good time to practice that up here. How this can still be one shape, right? Let's just make this all one shape, for example. Actually, I might do this. Something like that. But then what we can do is we can make the gradient within that shape itself. Yeah. Hey Jimmy, we're just doing a little painting of Hobie from Enter the Spider-Verse. Oh dear. Good night to you. Is that good night hello or good night goodbye? Blissful, a bunch. Yeah, I can go through that. It's a just a bunch of free. Really, it's just one. Free to use newspaper texture and did a few adjustments to it. Alright, I'm not going to go and do every lock. I might do that on my own time. So I've got like a bit of a plan moving forward. right, so we've got, actually what I want to do really quickly is just add a bit of a, yeah, a bit of a transition there, so it looks like it's lifted up from his head instead of it's like painted on. Just a little transition there. Little ledge of his hair. Alright. Now, our focal points. So we've got to do something with these spikes. Those spikes would be so impractical. Like imagine you're just like poking yourself in the side all the time. Yeah, the newspaper is going to be the background, I reckon. I like it. Maddie, welcome. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I hope they're not boring. This is the thing. Like, this is what I'd be doing anyway today. Like, sometimes they're more targeted around study and that kind of stuff, but it's really come and join us. Have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of fun, study, work on whatever you're working on. And yeah, but no, appreciate you popping in. It's a very different to the quick, snappy time lapses. This is what goes on behind them. All right, let's think about Line Decker, how he would make these sort of transitions. That'd be more shapely. There might be a bit of a highlight here. But even in these shapes, again, this is for me as well. I'm not just like explaining things, just explaining it for myself so I can let these ideas sink in. Even within these shapes, there's going to be transitions. So how these shapes here are gradating down. They're getting darker. This shape here is lighter than this shape. And then because this is meant to be leather, might even have shapes within this shape. We can do the same over here. Let's give us a good canvas to work with. Ah, Kelly, interesting. All right, so it's animated all over him. That is probably not going to happen for this one. My hobby is in non-newspaper land. All right, so these are going to transition down into darker shapes. See, I'm playing with color as well. This is the same jacket, but one side's purple and one side's blue. But because the values hold up, it kind of feels like the same sort of material. Ahmen, just lurking here. That's cool. Lurk away. Let's make these eyes a little more intense. Yeah, that's better. All right. So let's fix some of this neck here as well. Get some of these simplified shapes interlocking one another. I wonder how... Is there a way to get this kind of vibe with sculpture? I wonder. Obviously not with the color, but with the actual structure of the character. Maybe we give him like an Adam's apple. Alright, so that's feeling more refined. Definitely. Liberty, welcome. Let's make this... whatever this is called. It's not a necklace. What would this be called? It's like spiky necklace choker sort of thing. Let's simplify this back up. Get rid of all my scribbles. See, even in the shadow, things have form. So this is going to be a little bit lighter on the top. We'll do the buckle separately. And again, each shape should have its own gradient within it. Just a reminder to myself. Oh, before I forget, let's add the lip ring, because I will forget that. Maybe it's on the other side. Can I be bothered checking? No, I cannot. It feels good on that side. That works. Make it a little bit thicker. That works. And even casting a little shadow. Oh, that kind of looks a bit odd. I'm gonna have it wrap around. Something like that. That will do as like a placeholder. Or it ends up being the final one. Who knows? Liberty, I appreciate it. Glad to have you. Blissful, I know what a spider sonar is now. I saw, what's her name? Jamie Drishcoat. You know who I'm talking about. If someone could, if someone could post in chat who I'm talking about. She did her like version of Spider, like basically drawing herself as a spider girl. So yeah, that'll be cool. What would my spider whatever power be? I could just like learn stuff really fast. That'll be sick. No webs, no sticking to stuff. I just like have spider sense of like, yeah, I can learn this thing super quick. Thanks Duncan. He draws with a pen attached to his wrist. Yeah, maybe it's like, say if I'm sculpting, like any tool that I want, I'm just like shabam, shabam, shabam. Where they're hidden and where they come from. What was I bitten by? Like, did I fall in radioactive clay or something? Or paint? I don't know. Yeah, we can have some fun with that, I reckon. Okay, so let's add some of the details to the neck thingamabob. Actually, I'm going to add a bit of shadow here in the red. Like a really intense sort of red to show that this is sort of casting a bit of shadow underneath here, some of the occlusions. Could I? I could. Add a bit of an indication where the suit sort of comes up on the neck here. Yeah, that's cool. Don't hate that. Yeah, that works. Jackie Druco, thank you. Ouroboros, legend. Or Druco, is it a silent J? I'm not sure. Very cool, Maddie. He sculpted a spider that came to life because of radioactive chemicals. It went on to bite. Yeah, maybe the radioactive chemicals is turpentine. Radioactive turpentine that I got, because that stuff is nasty. And then when I painted it on, something happened. There we go. Backstory. Okay, where was I? Yeah, details of the necklace thingamabob. So I'm going to keep them square. Maybe have them sort of... This is so unnecessary, this detail. Just want to make that clear. The time that I spend on these are like very indulgent. Like all these streams and stuff. If I need to get stuff done, I definitely don't take this long, but this is like exploratory sort of stuff. That's why they're called study fun times. And even these, let's go to our wireframe brush. So this is what I'm thinking about. So if that's true, this should actually cut off a little bit there. So then it kind of wraps around like that, right? So we come here. We need to make sure that this wraps around like that. Something along those lines. Cannot be bothered doing a buckle. Yeah, maybe some sort of buckle just to break it up a bit. It goes back in space there. We can add details to that over the top. Alright. That'll work for now. I'll come back and noodle with that a bit later. Maybe this breaks the silhouette a little bit and then knocks back that way. Yeah, something like that is cool instead of it all being within. Oh, my bum is getting numb. Catch you later, Liberty. Richo or Jimmy, yes. Yeah, every Sunday is live. Roke or Rose, R-O-C-E. Very cool. How are you finding it? All right. Squat time. Or quick break time, actually. Break time, then we come back, we do 10 squats. Keep it. Actually, no, squats before break. I've got to earn my break. So this is a prompt for everyone out there, artists, whoever, whatever you're doing. Yeah, my anti-numb bum. That's it. Anti-numb bum squats for health and wellness and well-being. So I'm just going to get my weight. It's just over there. We'll do 10 squats and then we'll have a break. All right. This is a prompt to get up, do whatever exercise that you want to do to clear your head. Okay. Got the weight. Move the chair. All right. Oh, frick. 1, 10. Bam. Alright, I trust that you all did squats along with me. Whew. Alright. Let's add a little I shouldn't really be puffed out from that. Okay. I will see you in 5.
Everybody got their pay. What a time for the lonely ones. Thought every dog had its day. What a time for the wicked, the hungry and the brave. Ain't no time left to pretend. The car's on its way. Somebody call the cat in. We don't need another stray. If everybody had an answer, nobody'd have to wait. What a time for the righteous. The hero never came. Ain't nobody out there like us. There ain't no two stones the same. I'll be alright, 'cause I got you on my shoulder. I'll be alright. We'll settle down when we're older. We'll be alright. Somebody let some air in. It's getting hard to breathe. Won't somebody let some light in? It's getting hard to see. I'll be the great liberator and set somebody free. There's time to talk about it later. Come on, we gotta leave. I'll be alright when I got you there for me. I'll be alright. I'd slow down if you told me it'll be alright. What a time for the righteous. The hero never came. Ain't nobody out there like us. Or are we all the same? I'll be alright, 'cause I got you on my shoulder. I'll be alright. We'll get some rest when we're older. We'll be alright. We'll be alright.
Yoo-hoo. Oh, and we're back. Let's settle in and finish this bad boy, hey? gloves on. Coffee at the ready, and let's continue. Whew, okay. So let's have a look here. There are some issues. It's amazing what a break will do. You just start seeing all these little things that you've missed before. Alright, let's give ourselves a blank canvas for this sort of part of his, what do you even call it? His body, I guess. Alright, so I want to show the clavicle. That's too intense. Because his head's going to cast a shadow right down here. So maybe we put an indication of that. We'll use a multiply layer. That head's going to be poking forward. So maybe this is the kind of area of shadow. It gives it more dimension as well, just adding these shadows in. Now we do have to be mindful of the forms that the shadow is casting on. Then how this shadow is going to transition down into the body as well. So then we can knock it back a little bit so it's not as intense. Something like that. Alright, so let's merge that in. Show a bit of that clavicle happening in there. Now get his blue shirt here. It's going to be like rips. Like I wanted it, yeah, to show like rips. So it's kind of an older shirt maybe. Or maybe he bought it that way. Who knows? Something like that. Let's speed it up a bit. Let's see if we can get this going. Those squats and the break giving me an extra little bit of pizzazz. Alright, let's have a look here. This is going to be casting a shadow. This here is going to be casting a shadow as well. Same here, same here. I'll flip a row. Maybe one of these spiky bits or a couple of them are going to be in shadow, which would make sense because his hair and his head are covering all this part, so have some consistency there with the spikes. Have a berry experience. Nice. Gojira. Yeah, metallic surfaces could be cool. That could be a fun challenge for sure. Even having this guy. Like that, and then maybe these are a little bit brighter because they're metallic. Speaking of metallic surfaces. Okay. What else? Yeah, Monty Python. That'll be good actually. That'll be funny. Did a Monty Python themed stream. I mean, honestly, I don't know if we need to do much more in this area. Because I don't want to go full render town on this thing and make it like everything 100%. So maybe we clean up the legs a little bit because there's a little bit too much going on here. He also does have this pattern, this kind of flannel pattern, I think, from what I've seen in a few concepts. So if we simplify the legs out just a tad, do a bit of the line decker treatment on there. Ouroboros, not a bad idea. I want to do maybe some color shifts. That could be cool. Tell Bias, thanks so much. Glad to have you. Good, Jira. We can add that stuff back in later. Alright, and because this is a curved surface, we want to make sure, let's do this. Something like that's kind of cool. Percy, well, welcome. I've got to think about the shadow here as well. So there's going to be a shadow probably cast on the leg around about there. So there's something about just simplifying these transitions. It's just Let's do the same over here. Ouroboros, I certainly can. The color, the value choice is based on where the light source is, right? So this top of the leg is going to be the lightest part, and then it's going to transition down. And we could smooth it all out and smudge tool it all and make it all super silky smooth. That didn't really look super smooth. If we get like the soft round and then we do a bit of scattering. Like that. We could like, maybe I want both axes. Yeah, both axes there. Yeah, so we could like smooth this all right down if we wanted to, and then really get like a fully, like really smooth finish. But I'm trying to be a little bit more tricky with it. And it's really not as simple. Like, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, this is super simple. But I'm trying to think simply about it. All right, light to dark, that transition to make this it's basically a cylinder. Is how I'm thinking about it. And then depending on how many transitions between, so we've got this color and this color. I might, if I want to, might do like a transition sort of color here if I wanted to round this out even more. Or this value, again looking at values, this kind of value is kind of the stair step between this color and this color. So we could do that. And that's pretty much my thinking behind it, because then what I want to do is come over the top, let's say, with maybe multiply, and add in, because he's got this like pattern where it's kind of like played kind of pattern going on. So I might want to come over the top with that eventually, but underneath has the structure of the values. So that's what I'm thinking about with these legs. Daniel Art, welcome. And then transitioning down into the boots. Same thing. Thinking about where that light source is. I'm trying to find those sort of values where it makes sense and it sort of stair steps. So then it looks like light is sort of hitting there, and then because we got these blue straps, we can have an idea of where they might be hit by the light as well, if we just want to put like little indications of that. And these again are going to transition into darkness. Daniel, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for popping in. Glad to have you. Oh no, I've got Spotify going on in the background. Ay. Hopefully I didn't pick it up through this whole stream. I think it was so low that it wouldn't pick it up. I think this needs a transition here. Let's just do that and then find these transition shapes in here. And then step it down again. So now it really like rounds it out a little bit more and doesn't draw the eye as much. That's the goal, at least, anyway. Sugar Beets is fed. What'd you get, Sugar Beets? Pizza and fries, nice one. Let's add some shadows in here, just in where some of these straps are gonna sort of be. Yeah, I think keeping a lot of this looser as well is probably better. Maybe. One, because I can't be bothered. And two, it doesn't detract the eye from the main focal point, which is the face. Now we can use the same logic with these ones as well. Oh, sugar beets, there you go. That's fantastic. And you're worried for nothing. That's awesome. All right, we've got to finish off this. It's getting there. It's probably like 95% done for what I'm happy with working on it for. That's wicked, Sugar Beach. You got your safe place. That's great. Sorry to hear it, Gojira. All right, let's fix the neck or the head of the guitar. So it's going to be in perspective. We've got the tuning thingamabobs here. That's going to come to about here probably. Then this about there. Then the strings, they'll probably shoot out something like that, maybe. The perspective feels a little bit off, but let's get the music back. What's been going on? A few more. Do just like an indication of these things, maybe. A little indication of the Gibson logo, because a commenter on when I posted the reel of the line work mentioned that he plays a Les Paul, not a Stratocaster, so I changed that up. So shout out to whoever that was, I can't remember. Kai, welcome. Daniel, do I know any artists from Brazil? No, I don't, unfortunately. Not off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm following a bunch of them. I'm terrible with remembering names of artists, but if you show me their work, I'll be like, yep, I know who they are. We're slowly getting there. A good little test as well. Not entirely sure what this was. Okay, that's an empty layer. Okay, that's the lip ring that can be merged in. Is something called threshold. So if we come here, threshold. Now this shows where the focal, like it can help show where the focal points are from a value perspective. So that's cool. We got the face is surrounded by dark. So that works. That works well. Cool. Yeah, exaggerating the poses. Yeah, it's a good suggestion, Gojira. Okay, let's try adding some like rips to the pants. And then we do this, add the shadow. Then we've got a rip in the pants. Cool, just adds a little bit of something. All right, let's try rim lights. Thanks, Kai. Yeah, they're pretty simple, but they do the job. All right, let's give that a whirl, hey? All right, rim lights. Where do we want the lights to come from? So this angle first, from the left side. Let's try screen. Let's really think about the placement and what is it going to illuminate and how far around is the rim light going to be. I wouldn't mind illuminating his cheek here. Right, and by doing that, all of his earrings, the ear, and some of the hair is going to be illuminated as well. What? Got to fix these locks up later as well. I'll do that off stream probably, because not the most interesting thing to be doing. Let's say the light's coming from this way. Maybe hits a little bit of the nose here as well. It's maybe the lip. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, that's cool. See how it just like adds an extra level of dimension? Then maybe this lock here. Probably got to knock those back a little bit because they're not shiny locks. These spikes. The jacket to some degree might. Maybe the neck. Maybe some of this, maybe. No, it doesn't make sense. We'll just keep it at that. So then these are going to be shiny, shiny. Autumn Rose, can I give us a hint about the next video? It's going to be about line work and my thinking around that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to posting that one. Maybe there's all of this stuff in here might get hit by the rim light as well. Been kind of sloppy with it, but that's fine. side of this leg to a certain degree. We'll have a bit of rim light. Yeah, that helps pop him out a little bit from the newspaper in the background. Sugar Beats, there is yeah, fireworks day. So you got New Year's, obviously. Oh, actually, no, I think it's mainly on New Year's that fireworks go off. Yeah, it's very annoying when you got animals because they freak out. I had all these other plans for this. I don't think I could be bothered. This is fine how it is. Gotta move on to the next one, you know. So just add these rim lights maybe. Let's go to the other side as well. Or maybe the rim light's coming through this way. Maybe it catches a little bit of the guitar here, which can help bring the guitar out from the background, or like from his body, which is a nice thing. But I think his body would block a lot of that. I appreciate it, Paleo Doom. Hope you're doing well. And I am doing good. Ouroboros, Anzac Day. No, we don't, because fireworks are illegal here. We can't just go up to a shop and buy fireworks. We've got pretty strict laws around that. But people get them. They find a way. So the light source is coming from this way. Maybe the back of his ear gets hit a little bit. Oh, that's an opportunity for some subsurface scattering, if we do so choose to do that. Kai. Yeah, you can always guarantee it's, if there are fireworks, it's fireworks around here. There's not too many hunters where I live. In the suburbs. Alright, what about the mask? What do you have a bit of shine. Oh, that pops out the mask a little bit nicer, doesn't it? That's cool. Alright, so let's do something like that maybe. Sick. Hey, what's going on? Cool, that's making the thingy pop, the mask. Nice. You know what? I reckon that's pretty much all I want to do for this stream, really. Nothing. I need to stop looking at it for a little bit, I think. So I've been looking at it for a while. Maybe do something else. And I'll post this to Instagram tonight. And yeah, we'll see how we go. I do want to... So we've got all these layers for... So we've got that, or we have full newspaper. Let's get these old masters out of the way. So we've got this as like a post, let's say. We've got this, no background, maybe add a darker background. Of sorts. Or we've got with the newspaper. I reckon the newspaper and maybe even adding some color. As I said before that I was going, this is where I wanted to stop, but you know what? I changed my mind. So I wonder what that does to... Maybe we come here. We do color mode. Maybe color mode has to come on top. Yeah, just start adding some variation to the newspaper itself. Could be cool. Don't want it to conflict too much with the character though, so we've got to be kind of careful where we put some of this stuff. Maybe a few greens could be cool. Whoa. Yeah, Avalon, I've been trying to find... I was playing around with making the newspaper darker, but it doesn't quite look right because you don't really see darker newspapers. So it looks like if I duplicate that, knock it down, and then if we made it all darker. And for some reason this isn't working. I don't know what's going on here. But let's say we just added that. I don't hate that actually, that was an accident, but I mean that's kind of, I don't hate that. I don't know if I like it, but I know I don't hate it. So that's a start. Nope. Maybe. Nope. I do like the blue. What do you reckon? I don't know. There's still a bit too much going on, so maybe we cut into this a little bit. So this is, I'm using masks to get rid of this. So almost how it's like cut out. So I don't want too many jaggy edges.
Chance of light rain. I guess I really gotta show you about this Trinity King. I guess this is how it is when you front of
yeah, maybe even
to Tobago, FOG down. Man's on the ends, Londonville to the sea town. Remo with a schema and a beamer with the T down. And she wanna know me, tell me baby what you need now. A little buddy. Bubble up your pop, mix the curry, go dummy. Whole fam, ice on no
have little bits and pieces sort of hanging off of it. I don't know.
When it come to chats, we don't take none.
Yeah, Avalon, I think, yeah, the blue contrasts are read well. Keep the blue color block, but maybe add some large cutout letters and words. Yeah. I was just trying to think, like, I've got to think from a smaller size as well. How does it read? Because that's how people are going to see it in the post. They're probably going to see it like that size.
Never force a vibe, let it come to you. I tell man sell a tofu. Really in the trenches in soulful. Certain places you can't go to. Bear gun man and
I do like the idea of adding bigger letters and that kind of thing, but we just got to be careful. Okay, section U. Oh, Omfu. Toodaloo. Hide user on this channel. Ta-ta. There is just in this big block of empty space here, which is kind of annoying. What I did do, so if we come here, we come to Unsplash. And what I did was newspaper. See, this is where I could see AI being helpful, is just like, I just need some newspaper. Like a newspaper graphic. So this is, I think, what I used. So if I just pull that in. Get rid of this. Copy. Now we're just tweaking at the moment. Tweaking bits and pieces. So then... I'm digging the vibe, don't hate it. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, that's where that's gone. Hold the phone. I mean, I just like that as well. So I don't want to be... It's a balance. Am I getting too fancy with it? I don't know. It's too busy. Way too busy. So we need to do some adjustments on it. I reckon I'll play around with this mask shape a little bit. I don't want it to anything to be clearly like readable. Why is that not showing anymore? We have an issue. Okay, that's there, that's showing. I actually like this. This is kind of cool. There's something about it. But I want... Maybe that's the edge of the newspaper. Yep, that's why. Okay. We found the issue. Blow it up. Ugh, come on. Yeah, I like the big words there. That's cool. Just got to be kind of strategic, but also haphazard with it at the same time. No, that's too contrived. We just need to be like, ta ta ta. And then we've got to knock it back quite a bit, I think, because it's really interfering with the character. But if we're thinking content-wise, because we spent all this time on it, we would like people to see it. That is pretty eye-catching from small scale. What I might actually do as well, sometimes I do this. Catch you later, Sugar Beats. Good to have you, Dylan. Inescapable. Sometimes it does, doesn't it? Straight out of GTA. Oh, Globo. Clever. Yeah, good call, Ouroboros. Coming in clutch. Nice. Even around the mask, that could be kind of cool. Because I do have those sort of little spidey sense things there. Maybe I get rid of them and then throw in some of these. It's got to be balanced with it though. Alright, so now we've got room to add the spidey senses. What was that? Lightning bolts, I guess is what spidey senses are. Yeah, this needs some tweaking. That's cool. It is a mystery. I don't think he bought a YouTube channel. I think because I mean that's just a screenshot of the stream. We want to keep some balance here, but maybe we cut that out, which gives us some breathing room over here. Well, and it's all gone. Let's remove that, give it some breathing room as well. Good call, Ouroboros. We can have a little bit of this cut out here. Cool, 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 cool. Get rid of this, I reckon. Don't hate it, but I think it needs to be knocked back a little bit. It's a little bit too in your face. I wouldn't mind also adding a bit of that drop shadow, not too much. And maybe some more of these colors in the background here, but make sure that they're connected. It's a little bit in your face, but it's a good start. Maybe we add multiply layer. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that whatever's happened there, that's cool. What on earth did I do there? What? Okay. Huh. Yeah, we'll keep playing. We'll keep playing. Paleo Doom, it's June the 2nd is my birthday. I appreciate it, Blissful. Catch you later. We could also add that chromatic aberration. We can do that by... Whoa, how's that for a voice break? We choose the red. And then we nudge. So see how we got some chromatic aberration there? There's just a lot going on though. That's the only thing. See how we've got that kind of deal going on? What we can do is we can make the focal points more focal points. And like erase the areas that we want to be kind of clearer. Like his face, for example. Kind of like how the movie does it. And then let's group that, duplicate that. Then I think we can play around with some of the selective color. How can we make this? Actually, yeah, what I was going to do, I'm going to take a photo of, or a screenshot I should say, of the sort of explore page on Instagram. Take a screenshot, throw it in here. This is getting really inside baseball right now. But this is how sometimes I like to think about posts. Lucy Abel. When did I start YouTube? Whenever one of these first streams was. Nah. No previous work. So I think, it would have been 2020. The first stream was done. Is when I started, that was my first post to YouTube. And then my first video was 3 months ago, which is not acceptable. Look at this guy. Okay, so let's add it over this. So this is a good way to judge to see if we want to get because I mean the algorithm is the algorithm, but the way I see it, where people are who's actually going to see the thing, right? So let's see how it stands out. We can scale it to see how it's going to look. Not terrible. I don't like the dullness of the background. So I actually might want to brighten that up even. And then what I can do is I can save this, look at it at my phone, on my phone. And we can make like adjustments as we go. So let's brighten that up. Yeah, something like that. Maybe could be cool. Because this is the thing, right? We spend all this time doing these. I would like it to be seen. We've got to just give ourselves the best chance of it being seen. Yeah, that's a bit better. That's how maybe I would crop it. Yeah, that's too... That gives the little Spider-Man so you know who it is, the connection there. Bit of the background. Nice and bright. Kelly, that's a good idea. I just don't want it to mix too much with the character itself. I really want the character to pop out, if you know what I mean. Yeah, oh, there you go. You did the comment there. Yeah, so that would be my aversion to doing that. And I think maybe with what's around him at the moment here, I think we can even brighten that up. Just a tad. I think that could work. Potentially. That's small scale. Yeah, that's cool. And this post might flop. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It's not going to stop me posting again, you know? But what this does is we're just thinking about some of this stuff. Thinking about how people consume our content. And that might even be a little bit more... a little bit brighter. This is like the equivalent of like thumbnails, like spending a lot of, like I've been doing a lot of research on YouTube, and the amount of time you should really spend on thumbnails is a lot. Like the idea in the thumbnail is where it should be at. So this is essentially like a thumbnail for Instagram. Ouroboros, yeah, not a bad idea. That could be cool actually. The chromatic aberration. What do you reckon? It's getting there. It's like 95% there now. There'll be some small tweaks. What else did I want to add to it? There was something, but I've forgotten. What was it? It was something that I was going to add. Oh yes, play around with the color so we can, now we've done all our work, we can play around with bumping the colors just a little bit, you know, so we've got where the reds are, maybe the neutrals, maybe we add a little bit more, like we can make him full like glowy if we want, but just like a little bit more cyan. Bump up the magentas a little bit so it contrasts with the background. Remove some of the yellows so it sort of cools it down a little bit. So we can make him like full that kind of color if we want as well. Just like removing some of the yellows. We can make it a little bit more washed out if we wanted. I don't think we want that. And we can just toggle it on and off. Just those tiny little tweaks. Apologies for the dogs. Yeah, I never heard of it until I got Procreate, because there's literally a function where it's like chromatic aberration, and it does it. And it's sick. And then maybe we want to play with the curves a little bit. I actually saw, what's his face? What's his name? I can't remember. I'll shout him out if I can remember. Him doing a lot of this. So we can like really bump the... Because I never did any of this. I just like the painting is the painting, and that's that. Which isn't a bad way to go, but playing around with curves, bumping some of this color just a tad. And then we do that, and then we post it, because we're rebels. No. And then we can toggle it on and off. Only so minor. But it's just maybe the difference between it sort of standing out and not standing out. So what we're going to try as well... Maybe putting like a darker line around some of this up the top here, because it's kind of getting a bit lost. Not lost, but there's something... I wouldn't mind adding some of these Spider-Verse-esque effects to it. So yeah, because I wanted to go away from it being too rendered. So this can help. Even just separating some of these things. And this is cool, like this is because of the character and the style and that kind of thing, it's giving me freedom to experiment. Whereas I might not do this usually. And then I could fold this. There's just another tool in my tool belt I can fold in. Excuse me. That I can fold into future work. Even showing that this is in front of the guitar there. Make the headings. You actually see Sam does arts do this a lot. You actually just use a line to separate some things, which is like just a nice shorthand to get that done fairly quickly to help things read a little bit better. Yeah, look, I might noodle with this a little bit off stream. Maybe we do a warm down. Why is this laggy? What? Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. What's going on? What? Are we back? Maybe this is a sign to call it here. I reckon I might call it, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully, I might call it here, yeah, because it is getting laggy. It could be my internet. So, look, this is where it's at the moment. I hope this was interesting to some degree. I've enjoyed it. And you can still hear me, okay. All right, so it's just the video maybe. So yeah, I reckon I might call it here. And thanks everyone for popping in. Again, always an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me on this artistic journey of mine. And I shall see you next week, unless I do a impromptu stream like I did last week or like a couple of days ago. But until then, also, it's all right. You know where to find me. Instagram. Check out the Gumroad tutorial in the description. All my links are in the description. The Filthy plugin, the podcast, beneblin.com. You know where it's at. You're smart people. All right. Gotcha.